Hari Om friends, my name is Prabhat and today we are going to be talking about what is yoga. Now today is the International Day of Yoga and I think it's a wonderful opportunity to understand and to share what this yoga is all about. Here is a yoga brick, yoga block that I'm holding in my hands. And my question to you is, how do you know where my hand ends and where the block begins? Do you agree that this block is not part of my body? If so, how do you know where the block ends and where the hand begins? Now, it's not a trick question. It is very obvious, isn't it? You can see it with your eyes. You can perceive it. You can observe it. For me, even if it is behind, I can't see it with my eyes, but I can still observe it. I can still perceive it. I'm still aware of it. So I'm very clear that this is not part of my body. Rather, this is an object that I am holding. So in this case, I am the observer, you are also the observer, and this is an object. And you are very sure that this is not part of my body. And the reason being is you can observe it, you can perceive it. So let us look at the world in this way today to understand more about the yoga. So what is the philosophy we are going to apply today? The philosophy we are going to apply is that if you can observe something, if you can perceive something, then for you that object becomes an external object and you are not the object. For example, how do I know I'm not the tree? How do I know I'm not the block? Because I can perceive it, I can observe it, I'm aware of it. So I am the observer and this is an object and I am not the object. Now this is very easy when it comes to the external world, isn't it? You can observe the tree, you can observe the fan, the people, the cars, the mountains, the sun, the moon, and all of these are external objects for you. And you're very sure that you are not the tree, you are not the sun, you are not the moon, you are here and the sun is there. Now, let us look at a few more concepts. Let us apply this philosophy, this way of looking at the world on the body. Now, if I ask you, are you aware of the body? Can you observe your body? Can you perceive your body? Then, even if you close your eyes, you are fully aware of your body, isn't it? Then, for you, which means within you, there is an observer, and that observer is separate from the body because you are aware of the body, so the body becomes an object for you. Just like you can observe the block, you are not the block. Rather, the block is an object that you are holding. Similarly, you can observe the body, so you are not the body, rather, you have a body. Body becomes an object for you. So far, easy, no problem. But now, let's go further. Let's look at the mind. Now, what is this mind? What do we know about the mind? Let us try to understand what are the functions of the mind. Mind is often thought of as the thinking principle, isn't it? All the thoughts, all your creativity, everything is coming from the mind. Also, it is the mind which is set to control the action organs, and also it is the mind which is able to take the data from the sense organs, from the eyes, ears, other senses, and able to store this data, and later if we need we can retrieve the data using the help of the mind. So these are some of the functions of the mind. Also it is said mind has some basic processing capabilities, analytical capabilities. For example, let's say there's a tree in front of you. Now the eyes, they just see the object, isn't it? They see this shape, the color. They don't call it a tree or any other thing. So this object goes using your sense organ. The eyes will send some signals, neurons are fired towards the brain, and the brain or the mind will look at all the past information that is stored in the database of the mind, and then it gives the suggestion that this is the tree, isn't it? So the mind is having some uh, analytical capabilities which is able to tell you that what you are seeing is probably a tree based on the past information and the words, the language which you have given to this information. So these are some of the functions of the mind. Now if I ask you, if you make an effort, if you make the effort, are you able to observe the mind? What do I mean when I observe the mind? Just close your eyes and ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? If you make the effort, can you observe your thoughts? If you make the effort, are you able to observe the cognition which is happening all the time? What I mean by cognition, the sense organs, they're constantly taking the data from the external world and then it comes to the mind, and the mind is giving you the suggestion, a reaction is happening in the mind, and then it tells you, like, oh, it's my ear which is hearing some sound. It doesn't say that the sound is the fan or the car, but then it comes towards the mind, and the mind, based on the past experience, it gives the reaction of the car. So just close your eyes and try to observe this happening. Try to observe the constant cognition which is happening from your ears, from your eyes. Try to observe your thought process. Now, in that moment where you're able to observe the functions of the mind, in that moment, even the mind becomes an object for you, isn't it? Now, if you can get this point, it will fundamentally change the way you look at life. Because most of the times we think of ourselves as the body or the mind, isn't it? If I ask you how you are feeling, most of the times we are talking about the body. I'm feeling good. I am feeling hungry. I am not feeling good. I had a really bad sleep. We are talking about the body. Or I'm feeling very angry. I'm feeling emotional. I'm feeling upset. We are talking about the mind. So if you can start to look at the body and the mind as an object for you, then it will fundamentally change your attitude, the way you look at life. Now let's go more subtle level. Beyond the mind, we have something we call as the ego. So mind is what we call as manas, and ego is what we call as ahankar. Aham means I, and kara means the maker. So, what is this ego? Ego is this faculty within us which is creating the I, which is creating this identity, which is creating the you. The way we are right now, we feel that the world is separate, the nature is separate, the outside world, and I am here. So, what has created this separation? What has given you this identity of I? That faculty we call as the ego. So the moment you say my money, my parents, my job, my girlfriend, my partner, your dog, all that identity which is being created is coming from the faculty of ego. Now that you have a basic understanding about ego, so again close your eyes and try to observe this play of the ego. Try to observe how the ego is coming into existence. The moment you say, I understand or I cannot understand, oh yes, I see the play of the ego, I do not see the play of the ego, all that is coming from the ego. So the moment you become aware of this ego, in that moment, even this identity which has been created is not who you are. Even this identity becomes an object for you. Just like you are not the block, we have established you are not the body because you are aware of the body, you can perceive the body. You are not aware of, you are not the mind because you can perceive the mind, you can observe the mind if you make an effort. Same way, if you can perceive this ego, that means in that moment you are not even this identity which has been created. So if you are not the external world, you're not the break, you're not the body, you're not the mind, you're not even this identity, then what is this observer? What is beyond the ego? Beyond the ego, we have something we call as the buddhi or intellect. Intellect is simple to understand. all the life forms, they have a certain intelligence. We call it as their intellect. Now, humans have this unique gift, I should say, that we have the ability to refine our intellect, to change the intellect. Look at yourself when you were a child and how you're looking at the world, and then as a teenager, then as a working profession, and then as you grow older, the way you look at the world changes, your intellect changes. What is this intellect? It is the basic intelligence that you have, and all the life forms have it. Like, for example, if you look at the flower, it knows when to open, when the sun is coming out, it knows when to pollinate, the seasons. It has certain intelligence. All the life forms, they have certain intelligence. But we humans have this ability that our intellect changes. For most of the life forms, their intellect is very limited. From the time they take the birth and the time they die, it is limited about the survival and reproduction and things like that. But we have this ability that our intellect evolves. Let's take an example. Say, I'm here in Rishikesh. We have a lot of monkeys. Say, a monkey joins the session. Now, I have a bunch of bananas and I keep the bananas in front of me. What's the monkey going to do? He's going to take the banana and he's going to just eat it as soon as possible. He's going to run away with it and go store it into a storehouse. Limited capability based on his limited intellect. Now, what about you? What are you going to do? Now, one of you is going to say, I'm going to take the banana, I'm going to eat it as fast as possible. Or some of you will say that, I'm going to take it, but I will give it to my child because I'm not hungry. I'm going to keep it in the fridge. Oh, a nice banana. I'm not hungry, but I will take it and I can make a banana smoothie. Or I will say, oh, bananas. Yes, I can make a nice sugar-free banana bread from it. So, based on your intellect, you can choose to do different things. But for certain life forms, they are programmed to only do limited intellect is there. I hope you can understand it. So this is about the intellect. And you can see the intellect at play everywhere for the humanity. When you're walking on the streets, the ability to take the stone and take some other materials and put it into the form so that you can walk nicely, you can drive the vehicles on it. The ability to take the metals and the fire and combine them in a way that you can sit on top of it and you can control it by the press of the button, or today even without pressing the button. All this is coming from the human intellect that we have, and this is what can change, this is what can evolve for us as humans. So now let's see what else is left in this entire universe. We have talked about the external world, the trees, the mountains, the sun, the moon, the brick, and we have established that you are not the brick because you can observe it, you can perceive it. The brick is an object for you. And then we applied it to the body. You can observe the body, you can perceive the body. So for you, the body is also an external object, and you are not the body. Then we talked about the mind. If you make the effort, you can observe the mind. In that moment, even the mind becomes an object for you, and you are not the mind. You are not even this ego, this identity in the moments that you are aware of it. What else is left? What else is left in this entire universe? You think about it. Is there anything else left? The only thing left is this observer within you, which is able to perceive all this. This observer within you, which is perceiving the external world, which is perceiving the body, which is perceiving the mind, the ego, the intellect. This is the only thing which is left. And this is what we call as the self. This is pure awareness. It doesn't have a form, it doesn't have a shape, it doesn't have a name, it doesn't have a sound. It is just pure awareness. And this is what we call as your true nature. This is who you really are. And the name, we can give it the name of the self, we can give it the name of the soul, we can give it the name of the Atma, we can give it the name of Brahman. Many different names are there, but this pure awareness within us, within all of us. Now the self within me, the self within you, It doesn't have a form, it doesn't have a shape, it is just pure awareness. And that is the same. And that is what we call as the Brahman. The self within you, the self within me, the self within all of us is the nature of pure awareness, and that is the Brahman. Now that we understand these concepts about the body, the mind, the ego, the intellect, the, the self, I think now we can try to understand what is yoga. So, what is this yoga? Yoga is the process of refining our intellect, of evolving our intellect, that you can first become aware of the self and then you can experience the self. The way we are right now, most of us, we have no awareness about the self, isn't it? Most of the times, we think of ourselves as the body and the mind. So, this is what we call as avidya. What is avidya? Vidya means knowledge. What is the only true knowledge? The only true knowledge is the knowledge of the self. Now, what is avidya? Avidya is not just lack of knowledge or ignorance, it is wrong knowledge about the self. The way we are right now, all of us, we have wrong knowledge about the self. We think of ourselves as the body and the mind. And this is the biggest ignorance. This is the avidya. So, by doing the practice of the yoga, what is going to happen? Your intellect will start to change, your intellect will start to evolve, and then the awareness of the self will come, and finally the experience of the self. And once you're fully established in the self, that is what we call as the liberation, the moksha, kevalya, and this is what yoga is about. Now, let us look at the definition of yoga from the Yoga Sutras. So, what are the Yoga Sutras? Yoga Sutras are one of the most beautiful texts ever compiled on the yoga, given to us by the great Patanjali Ji, the greatest psychologist, we say, to have ever lived. He was the compiler of the Yoga Sutras. So, what is a sutra? Sutra, think of a sutra like a thread. What is a thread? Here it means a simple sentence made up of as less words as possible, and these words are very clear, no scope for any ambiguity. So when a text is written in such a way, we call them as sutras. So these are the sutras about the science of yoga. And Patanjali the Great, just in the second sutra, he defines what is yoga. So he says, Yogaś citta-vrtti-nirodhah. Yogaś citta-vrtti-nirodhah, four words. Yogaś, yoga is. Chitta, remember we talked about the three amigos, the mind, ego, intellect. If I want to make it very simple, think of the individual mind, ego as the chitta, but not just that. Chitta is not just your mind, ego, intellect from this lifetime. It is a storehouse of all the latent impressions, sanskars from all your lifetimes. That's a very simplistic way of looking at the chitta. If you want to keep it simple, think of it like the mind, ego, intellect together. We are calling it as chitta. So yogash, chitta, vritti. Have you heard of vritti? Vritti means a disturbance or a wave that can arise in the chitta. We call it as citta-vritti, or a modification, a disturbance. Think of it like that. And nirodhah. Nirodha means stoppage or suspension or restraint. So yogash chitta vritti nirodhah means yoga is the suspension of the waves that arise in the chitta. Let me repeat once more. Yoga, I'll make it even more simple. Yoga is the stoppage of the disturbances that can arise in the chitta. If you want to make it very simplistic, let us try to understand this with the help of an example. Say there is a pond here, and say the surface of the pond represents the chitta. The mind, ego, intellect together is the surface of the pond, and the bottom of the pond, it represents symbolic of the self. our true nature. And then outside the pond is the outside world. Let's say all of you are outside this pond, outside this chitta, and what are you doing? You keep throwing the rocks at the surface of the pond. So what's going to happen on the surface of the ponds? The ripples will start to form, the waves, modifications, disturbance. At the same time, there is a truck coming, it keeps throwing the trash into the pond, because of which the surface of the pond becomes muddy, becomes trashy. At the same time, it's raining sometimes and it brings more trash and mud, and the surface of the pond becomes more and more disturbed and very muddy. So, as a result of it, there is no awareness of the bottom because the water is muddy, the water is full of these disturbances and waves and trash. So, there is no awareness of the bottom. So, what is the yoga in this particular example? So, let's say the same thing. You keep throwing, you are the external world, you keep throwing the rocks, the trash is coming, the rain is coming, dirty water is coming. All that is happening, but no disturbances on the surface of the pond. The surface of the pond is having no waves, no matter how many rocks you throw, no matter how much trash is coming, the surface of the water is clean. And then, when the surface of the water is clean, when it is transparent, only then the bottom of the pond can be seen. Only then the awareness of the self is going to come, isn't it? So, this is what yoga is about. External world is not going to change, but the ability to stop the reactions, stop these waves forming in the chitta is what Patanjali ji says is yoga. Yogaś citta-vrtti-nirodhah. Now, often here in Rishikesh, people are asking, what style of yoga do you teach? What style of yoga do you practice? Now that you have an understanding of the yoga, is there any style to yoga? There is no style to yoga. But a lot of people say, I'm practicing the hatha, I'm practicing the ashtanga vinyasa, I'm practicing the hot yoga, I'm practicing the wine yoga, I'm practicing the puppy yoga. Most of the time, we are talking about the style of the asan practice, isn't it? But that is not what yoga is all about. So there is not really any style to yoga, but there could be different paths to experience the yoga. There are different paths. For example, there is the bhakti yoga, there is the karma yoga, there is kundalini, there is mantra, there is ashtang yoga. Many different paths could be there based on your interest, based on your personality, based on your state of awareness. You can choose the path which appeals more to you, no problem. But you have to understand that ultimately they're all taking you to the same place. Think of them like the rays of the sun, but coming from the same source. So, with this thought, I will conclude today's session. In the next talk, I will introduce you to the Ashtang Yoga, which is also coming from the Yoga Sutras. Patanjali Ji doesn't just talk about the yoga, he gives a method how we can experience this self, how we can experience our true nature, how we can experience the yoga. That is what we call as the Ashtang Yoga, which we will talk in the next talk. Thank you, everyone. Hari Om.